So recently I got a question that was about making a video about doubts and fears and also taking action, but also why no movement even after months of imagining, etc., like doing techniques. And I think this is actually a pretty common question. I used to see this a lot in the Reddit community as well. It's like, I'm doing all this stuff, but I want to know about doubts and fears and when I should take action and when I shouldn't take action and what I should be doing and why I keep doing this and like nothing's happening. And I'm going to actually break this up into a couple different videos because I want this to be digestible and I want you to really sit with this and consider it for a little bit. And one of the first things is going to be, I don't know that everybody's going to be happy with me for my commentary, right? This is my experience. This is based off of one very small comment. This is the experience that I've had working with other people, whether that be just like in conversation, through the Reddit community, through my email, through coaching services, whatever it is. These are my experiences, and this is my recommendation for you. You need to really be honest with yourself. When you're asking the question, what about doubts and fears, and taking action, and nothing's really happening? Well, I think that really, when you pause and think about it, can give you the answer that you're looking for. If changing your life means that you need to change your habits, you need to change your thoughts, you change your beliefs, you truly change the person that you are, the state that you're dwelling in, the position that you're coming from, the thoughts that you have, your perspective, everything about you shifts and changes. But when you're asking, well, what do I do when I'm doing all of this and nothing's happening? I really want you to pause and just say, you know what? I'm going to ask this question myself. I'm going to do it kindly. This is not about being frustrated with ourselves. It's not about beating ourselves up or being upset with ourselves, right? But I want you to ask, truly, in the quiet, just by yourself in your own mind, am I confirming that I actually am the person who has this thing? Or am I consistently reaffirming that I don't, that I'm not that person, that I'm doing this because I desperately want this thing in my life? And that can be really, really frustrating where it's like, well, of course I really want it in my life. I don't have it. But when you build out a process and you set intentions towards a goal, you are then becoming that person. You're opening up your possibilities. You're opening up what your brain sees, the opportunities that you're willing to step into. You change everything about you. That's what it means to not take the old self into your new being, right? That's what it means about your dying to your old self. Or if you look at Dr. Joe Dispenza's work of breaking the habit of like being yourself, you are truly breaking the way that your mind looks at the world, looks at your opportunities, the perspectives that you have. And so when you're asking yourself, what about doubts and fears? Well, what are the doubts actually around? When you look at what you're doubting and what your fear is, what is your fear? Because if your fear is that you'll just never have something, you really need to be honest with yourself that then you're just confirming repeatedly that this fear is what you feel. Fear and doubts is what I feel. So more fear and doubts is what I receive. And that, I think, is such a big, important part to just the overall feeling and the overall way that you look at your manifestations or your goals. And if you consider it, if you stop for a minute and just think, okay, so I have a goal in mind, right? I want to achieve a very specific thing, or I want to obtain a very specific thing. Every day, start paying attention to the intentions that you have to get to that thing. So every day, consider, can I get 1% better than I was yesterday? Ask yourself every single night, am I aligned to that person that has this thing? Like, ask yourself, what would it feel like if I had this? If I was the person who had whatever XYZ thing is that I'm fearful of not having right now, if I had that, what would it feel like to me? And you can think of any feeling, it doesn't matter. It can be gratitude, it can be loved, it can be desired, it can be smug, it can be annoyed, whatever it is, right? It doesn't have to be some quote unquote positive feeling. So if you think about that and you say, okay, that's the feeling, then start asking yourself every night, was I aligned to that person? Did I behave in a way that person would behave? Was I stepping into my ideal self? I do currently have a guide that I put together that's for sale on my website. I'll put a link down to it below, but it essentially just kind of gives you a step-by-step process of figuring out what it is that you want, what that would look like in your life, and then how to remain focused on your intention. And I'll put that link down below. You don't need it. I provide all of my information, honestly, for free. Anything that I sell on my website is really just a bonus so that you have it all together and all in like an easier to digest format with like a journal. So essentially the thing that's for sale is a journal. I just want to put that out there because I want to make sure that you know that everything that I'm sharing with you, you can change your life with that right here, right now. You don't have to have anything else, but you have to really be honest with the feelings that you have. You have to really be honest about the intention that you're putting behind what you're doing. If your intention when you do a technique or a meditation or visualization or, sleep akin to state akin to sleep, SATS. If you are doing that with the intention of getting something, of like, I need to do this so I can have this thing, you are actually creating a cycle of the want and the feelings of not having. And so it can be very difficult, but the more that you learn how to step into phase of like, okay, I believe, I ask, I receive. I believe, I ask, I receive. And the more that you step into that, the easier it becomes. So if you are having doubts and fears, I want you to be really, really honest with yourself about what. What is it that you're fearful of? Maybe write it out. And don't be scared to write it out because guess what? If you're having them right now, you're manifesting that in your life right now. You writing it out is not going to make it worse. It's just really bringing that stuff that's sitting in the back of your mind to the forefront so you can address it and get over it. So write it out. What am I afraid of? And then start to I used to call it a logic tree. Where I would write out what my fear was and then I would logically go through it. Does this really make sense? Do I actually believe this? Do I want to continue to believe it? Do I believe that my thoughts and the way that I focus my attention can change my physical reality? Okay, if I do, then why am I continuing on this path? And I would start asking myself very logical questions. Like, let's say there was something where I'm like, this person doesn't like me. And I'm like, oh, that bums me out. I want them to like me. I want them to be my friend. So I'd write it out and I'd say, okay, I believe so-and-so doesn't like me. They think I'm dumb. And I'd say, well, are you dumb? No. Do I actually think they think you're dumb? No. Last week when they saw you, did they say hello? Yes. Does that mean they think you're dumb and they don't like you? No. So I would actually go through a logic tree. And then if there's something that you're like, well, the answer to that is yes. Like, yes, they don't like me. They're showing that they don't like me. Is there another possibility? Could it be that they're scared of their feelings for you or that they don't have room right now to pay attention to you in the way that you would like them to? Any kind of additional possibility, I think, just allows that possibility then to start flowing into your life. No matter how outlandish it is, just consider the other possibilities that might be available. So hopefully that answered this person's question. I'm going to leave this as a little link down below where they asked me the question. It's been a little bit of time. Sorry it took me so long to respond. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below, or by all means, always you can send me an email. It's unleashinghappiness@ceciliahendricks.com. Thank you. Thank you.